Hey, everyone. Welcome to Locked On Lakers for Tuesday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. Did LeBron James put all the questions about his future to bed during All-Star Weekend? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter how or where you get your podcasts. It's always free. It's never behind a paywall. And Locked On Lakers on YouTube. It's where over 23,000 subscribers are all hanging out, talking to each other, leaving questions for us, recovering from just an artful All-Star weekend, Andy, with a great game that everybody seemed to really enjoy and will remember for all time. So, yeah, the Lakers don't play until Thursday, and that is plenty of time to get into the big news from the Lakers' standpoint over the weekend, which had to do with LeBron James. Do want to let people know first that today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. So I guess, Andy, that hourglass emoji that LeBron famously sent out a couple weeks ago basically just meant I can't wait. Like, the time is passing for me to finish my career with the Lakers. That seemed to be what he was getting at over the weekend.
Yeah, the time is just passing so quickly. Like, it just seems like yesterday that I signed with the Lakers, and, you know, we're now 6 seasons in, and damn, it all goes by so quickly. Like, can't we do another 10 seasons, which I guess for LeBron still feels like it could be possible. But yeah, he had some interesting quotes at the All-Star game when asked about his status and stuff like that. He said, quote, "I am a Laker and I'm happy and been very happy being a Laker the last 6 years, and hopefully it stays that way, but I don't have the answer to how long it is or which uniform I'll be in. Hopefully it is with the Lakers. It's a great organization, so many greats. So we'll see." Later said, "I have not mapped out how many seasons I have left. I know it's not that many." But without absolutely 100% declaring, I will retire a Laker come hell or high water for as long as the organization will have me, I felt like this was as I think confident or confidence raising a commitment LeBron could make to the organization without boxing himself in. And I think about as realistic a comment as he could make without putting himself in the position of being like Kyrie, who declared himself, Celtic for life, then left. Which, I'm not saying it to slam Kyrie, I'm just saying stuff happens.
My default position, and I think yours as well, has always been that LeBron, all things being not even equal, but all things being close enough that we can at least squint and make him look equal, has no interest in moving again to play ball somewhere else, with the possible exception of going to play with Bronny somewhere because that's his kid and who wouldn't want to do that. Businesses are here, family is here, they don't want to move, kids are established, wife is established, work is established. So I think short of something catastrophic, and I think the other thing that's interesting, we talked about this, the everydayers see it last week. If you missed it, I think it was Thursday or Friday's episode. I think LeBron is also aware enough and self-aware enough to understand that the mechanics for him to change teams are much more complicated than they used to be. The heaven and earth that teams that he would be willing to play for would move to get him. It's just not the same thing anymore, where you clear the decks and you do all that stuff because like he says, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be playing. So you can't do that for a guy you're going to play with for a year. And also, he's so far along in this thing now. I think he wants to win another title, but he knows he does not need another title to cement a legacy, to do, like, you either think he's the GOAT or you think Jordan's the GOAT, and that's basically the conversation.
Yeah, nobody at this point, or very few people, are going to change their minds one way or the other. Because I mean, the career that LeBron has put together is incredibly compelling. And to some, he's the greatest of all time. To some, it's still Jordan. And I think there's a small population of people that think Kareem is being overlooked in this conversation to begin with. But those are basically, I think, the consensus three guys. And for a lot of the Jordan people, it is intractable. Like, you know, for some of them, it's 6-0 in the finals. Can't beat that. And I think LeBron is smart enough to recognize, A, that you can't change people's minds who don't want to have their minds changed. But also, too, the person you need to satisfy with your legacy is you, not us. Whether you're talking about NBA media, whether you're talking about fans, even your peers. The
you
person
guys
that
with thumbs.
Yeah. I mean, the most important thing is you have to satisfy yourself first and foremost. And I think LeBron is rightly aware. You know, there's a little career I've carved out. It's been pretty nice. Like, there's nothing left for him to prove. There are things he maybe can still accomplish, but there's nothing left for him to prove. So in that sense, I think if I had to guess, and this is purely a guess because, you know, neither one of us has spent as much time around LeBron as we had around, say, Kobe. But
not
if I
close.
had,
not even close.
Right. But we've spent a lot of time examining LeBron. I think I have a decent idea of his thought process. If I had to guess, he would be more concerned about going out vulnerable in his career than going out with merely 4 championships.
I think too, it's like to I think maybe your point, like, do you want to bounce around like this team and that team? Do you like do you want to be that guy? Like, you know, sort of Emmitt Smith your way through the end? And I think this is the last stop. And as long as the Lakers don't royally F things up and make it untenable for him to play here, or decide, you know what, we're just, you know, you want to play longer than we want to pay you, whatever it is, like, we feel like this relationship is at the end of the line. I don't see that happening because I think LeBron will play until, like, he can't be LeBron anymore, at which point he'll want to retire and the Lakers will happily let him. And there's just no way in hell the Lakers are going to let LeBron James go and just be like, yeah, we're going to move on to a different star. Like, where does that star come from? The mechanics of replacing LeBron are very complicated. It's not like you can just go out and get another $50 million player to replace the one you already have. This is the marriage that the Lakers have established. It is very beneficial, I think, to both parties. I know LeBron is kind of becoming a a polarizing figure on our chat board, you know, on the YouTube channel.
Ooh, the Friday comments were really they were interesting. People should go back to Friday's show, go through the comments, and a lot of them were in specific reaction to things I said about LeBron, in the sense that I think he is a complicated max guy to build a team around, or have a team built partially around, because of the asks that you're trying to lessen on him at this stage of his career that you would not normally be looking to lessen to this degree with your superstars, which I don't see this as a slam.
It seems uncontroversial to me,
but man, the spectrum of comments saying that I'm an absolute LeBron hater, or I'm the only person willing to speak truth to power about LeBron, speaks to just how, if nothing else, unique a place the Lakers are in with such a unique player in LeBron.
Yeah. So we'll finish this off, and then we'll get into some other news about LeBron's availability, which, by the way, is related to what you're talking about. And finally, you know, if we get to it, what happens this week? We'll talk about a lot this week, if nothing else. The Lakers have some guys coming back at a time when there's like a an energy around what they're doing. It feels like the rotation's kind of set. We all understand what's happening here. And all of a sudden, there are going to be more players available, and nobody trusts Darvin to handle that well. So all of that coming up next.
Locked On Lakers is brought to you by PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million users. And PrizePicks is the easiest, most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 players, stats, projections, and just watch those winnings roll in. And it's demon time on PrizePicks. You now pick up to 100 times. You can now win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $100. Demons and goblins are the newest, most exciting way to play at PrizePicks. Squares marked with red demons or green goblins get you different payouts. And PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, like today. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value, plus excuse to get tacos as part of the theme. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
The marriage isn't perfect just because LeBron is still obviously elite. Sorry, folks, the LeBron haters. Sorry, he is. But he is still it's something you have to work around because, and this is, I guess, a sorry to the LeBron stans out there. Like, all of this stems from the fact, Andy, that a 39-year-old player isn't supposed to be doing what LeBron is doing. And so you are put in positions that are kind of unprecedented as a team, where your guy is still excellent and awesome, but you still do kind of have to treat him like a 39-year-old, sometimes. And you have to build your team. You have to build your team accordingly, which creates different questions, not insurmountable questions, not bad questions, not questions the Lakers should run away from without some sort of clear-cut replacement for James. But they are nonetheless questions and potential obstacles for Rob Pelinka to work through for every year that LeBron continues to be a Laker.
I also thought it was interesting, too, LeBron talking about whether or not, this reminded me, we were talking about farewells, when he would eventually leave, the idea of whether or not he would want the Kobe Bryant-esque, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar-esque farewell tour, or he would, as he put it, Tim Duncan it, and just sort of play that last season and then disappear, and that's the end of it. And he said, quote, "I'm 50-50. I'm going to be honest, because there's times when I feel like I guess I owe it to my fans that have been along this journey with me for 2 decades plus to be able to give them that moment where it's every city and whatever the case may be, and they give you your flowers or whatever the case may be. That seems cool." LeBron also went on to say that, on the other hand, he doesn't necessarily know if he wants that, because he sometimes has a difficult time dealing with compliments and dealing with praise. It can make him uncomfortable. LeBron, I was with you till about 90% of this thing.
Yeah.
You're not a man who has problems taking praise. You're just not. Nor should you be. If I was as good at LeBron, I would demand everybody acknowledge it at every single waking moment. I'm not holding this against LeBron. Just, he's not a man of false modesty.
No, to go to the Ron Burgundy, the classic Ron Burgundy meme. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I can recall more times where LeBron has said in so many words, "You're not giving me enough praise," as opposed to, "Oh, stop, guys, stop."
Guys, come on.
I totally believe him that he's not sure if he wants a formal farewell tour, because those can be really draining.
I think it's because it gets tedious. It's 40 times, it's or 30 times and 15 times in different buildings. It's like, okay, do we need an honor, another rocking chair? It's every time you go in the last, and it's, you know, stopping the game to, you know, the different pregame ceremonies and all this. I think it can become kind of a drag. But that said, I do agree with you. The notion that every once in a while, like LeBron is pretty good about avoiding this sort of scenario. But this was one of those times where the entirety of basketball social media at the same time raised its hand and said, I don't believe you. No, I mean, he likes the accolades. If I were LeBron, I'd want them too. And like, look, Kobe said this too. I don't, you know, I'm a killer. I don't want this stuff. You know, I don't want to be like, you know, and maybe it mattered because the Lakers were just so bad at that point. Like the Kobe farewell tour kind of gave everybody something to do that season. You know, maybe if the Lakers were more competitive at the, you know, Kobe would have treated it differently. I don't know. But most of these guys want, Duncan is the exception to the rule. I'll put it that way. And I would be very surprised if LeBron just pulled the I'm walking away thing with zero farewell tour, unless he gets hurt late in the season, unless something, you know, unusual happens. But I think in his mind, he's kind of got 2-3 years. I'm going to play next year. And if next year goes okay, I'll probably play the year after that. And, you know, maybe at some point he's going to know when he's done. And he'll want a farewell tour. Well, and you know what? And to be perfectly honest, the league wants him to have a farewell tour because he's too important a player to just disappear. The Tim Duncan thing was very Tim Duncan, but it would have been better for the league to have a Tim Duncan farewell tour.
Oh, I can promise you I know what Adam Silver would prefer. I'm just saying that is the part where I think LeBron was being transparent, because for all the reasons we mentioned before, but also too, like Kobe's farewell tour, as much as, you know, we were around that, we were around that team all the time, it got at times overwhelming and even a little bit annoying for his teammates without any resentment towards it. They all understood Kobe earned this and then some, but it could be a lot to deal with, especially when these young guys like, you know, Julius Randle and D'Angelo Russell, Jordan Clarkson, Nance, like they're trying to develop as players, and the whole season was designed to showcase Kobe.
Right.
But
and he was constantly in and out of the lineup. It was just, it wasn't, you had two diametrically opposed things happening at the same time. Showcase Kobe when he's available, and then try to develop players when he's not. And like, you know, it worked out.
Play one way with Kobe, one way without.
Right,
but also, too, you noted that season had no stakes. I mean, I thought there were stakes with developing these kids, but the organization clearly disagreed. There were no stakes in terms of wins and losses. It was just Kobe's farewell. LeBron, I am presuming, if he's gone this far into his career, doesn't want to be playing for a team that's struggling to get 20 wins. So if you're actually in the competitive thick of it, doing that while also doing a full-on farewell tour, I don't know if that's conducive to winning a championship.
I don't know how that, I think the competitive aspect of it might be the one thing that changes the equation about whether or not he would do it or not. But that said, the notion that he is just uncomfortable with praise seems far-fetched. Let's talk about the ankle, because we were going to do that in this segment, and what that means for the Lakers as they begin games. So LeBron's nursing a bad ankle. Get to that next.
Locked On Lakers is brought to you by BetterHelp, and sometimes we just need an opportunity to get things off our chest, big or small. They can really start to get to you, and it's important that you let it out, that you have that sort of outlet, finding someone unbiased in your life. And it's difficult at times to find that outlet. Like we, for example, do this show that we hope is a nice escape for our listeners, for our viewers from real life. And there can be a stress release from taking in a Laker game, talking about the Lakers, but we also know there are more pressing issues in life. And most of us have bigger problems than whether or not the Lakers win a championship. And it's important to be able to find avenues for dealing with those things in your life, those problems in your life. And for those issues, it can be huge talking with a professional. helped me a lot and my family during a really difficult period. Therapy can be really different for everyone. And if you are thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible, suited for your schedule. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA.
So the other bit of news, Andy, from LeBron and his press conferences and all the media time that he did over the weekend was about his health. I guess there's also the stuff about the trade talk and whichever. Maybe we'll get into that this week. But the other big thing was his health. He is nursing an ankle injury. It's been one of the things that he's been on the injury report with really all year. And, was getting therapy before the game, played very little in the game itself, and said he would be getting more therapy afterwards, more treatment, more therapy, and to the point that he could even miss Thursday's, I call it the second half opener against the Warriors, which did kind of get me wondering why he played at all, if that was the case.
Yeah. Same thing popped in my mind. Like, I know LeBron only played about 13 minutes. He did not play at all in the second half. I get wanting to be there for the fans. I think LeBron is somebody that sees this as a responsibility. That being said, if this is
and didn't do much other than that kind of cool dunk.
No, but I got to be honest. If 13 minutes on a Saturday, broken up by 3 or 4 days before it, and then 4 or 5 days afterwards, isn't enough of a down period in totality for you to play on Thursday's game pretty close to definitively, then you should not have played in the All-Star game. And I think everybody would have understood you shouldn't be playing in that game.
It gets to both what you were talking about before in terms of the maintenance question, but it is the Lakers are in this strange spot where, this momentum that they've built, we don't know how durable it is yet at this point. And we're going to find out quickly because one of the things I know we're going to talk about this week is just the schedule for the Lakers to open this, this stretch run is absolutely bonkers. You got the Warriors to start, and then the Spurs. Okay, Spurs, they're terrible, whatever. Then you go,
but it's the second end of a back-to-back.
Right, that's true. You got the Suns, you've got the Clippers, you've got the Wizards. Okay, day off, but again, second end of a back-to-back. You've got the Nuggets, you've got the Thunder, you've got the Kings, you've got the Bucks, you've got the Wolves, you've got the Kings, you've got the Warriors. You got to go after you clear that. The Wizards game on the 29th, you don't see another sub 500 team, assuming the Warriors keep playing well, until Atlanta on the 18th. And then it's the Sixers and the Pacers who don't suck, and the Bucks who are, Doc Rivers aside, and then it's the Grizzlies of the 27th. Like the March and the end of February and March is insane. And, to not have LeBron or to be worried about LeBron's health at this time is a real tricky one, because we are getting to that stretch run where LeBron's effort, intensity, investment in every game would start to ramp up. And we're running out of games for the Lakers to get into that top 6, try to get out of the play-in and all that. I mean,
or if nothing else, try to get themselves into the upper part of the play-in, so you at least have 2 cracks at winning one game, as opposed to needing to win both games just in order to get into the playoffs. And
to be clear, the Lakers are not there yet. They are 2 games behind Sacramento as the second half begins for the 8th spot.
Yeah. And look, they've been playing really well the last few weeks on balance. The Lakers have been winning a lot of games, and they have not moved up at all in the standings, because unlike last year, at least so far, the West is not cooperating. So they need to have some things break their way, but they also need to make sure they're winning these games. And, they're in a far better position right now heading out of the All-Star break than last year's team was. Like, there's no question.
Oh, right. I mean, and to the back end of it, the Lakers are now a full 4 games in front of Utah, 5 full games in front of Houston, like in terms of the play-in cutoff. They are almost, barring a total collapse, will make the play-in. But like, again, like you said, you want to be at the very, ideally at the 6, or at the very least in the 7 and 8, to give yourself that opportunity.
Yeah. So, not having LeBron for a handful of these games, or having to plan around back-to-backs, things like that. Like, it just, again, it starts making it more complicated. And as you mentioned, this is a period where in a perfect world, LeBron is looking to crank things up. So yeah. I'm sure this is frustrating for him. That ankle has been an issue all year, but as well as they have played at times this season without LeBron, they are 4-3 this year without him. They don't have many impressive wins without LeBron. Mm-hmm. Like, other than the context of, for much of the LeBron AD era, winning without him at all is impressive comparatively, because they've usually been dysfunctional without LeBron. So I guess in that sense, it's impressive. Right. But other than beating Boston on the road, or I guess to whatever degree you consider beating Utah on the road, how big that is, the other wins are San Antonio and Portland. Like, the flip side is they've been respectable in losses without LeBron. Like, they lost in Minnesota, they lost to the Clippers, they lost in Utah. Like, they've been respectable even when they haven't had LeBron and came up short. They just don't have much more margin to come up short. Like, they've run out of those allowances.
It's the stretch run, and like you said, in a brutally competitive conference, where in that, to your point, they've lost a game over their 7-3 in their last 10. They've lost a game in the standings to Golden State. They've gained 2 on Sacramento, dead even with Dallas, the Pelicans, and the Suns. You got to go up to the Nuggets, who are so far ahead of the Lakers that gaining or losing ground doesn't matter. I do want to point out there's a really cool stat that's been a thing that's been going on, and I apologize for not. We'll shout them out tomorrow on the show about every team's most productive action offensively. And if you see the chart, the one that is for the Lakers is Anthony Davis in the post, and that can mean low post, mid post, high post, whatever. But a post play to Anthony Davis, and we mentioned this in the context of LeBron before, like. He's the second best player on the team. At worst, would be the third best player when he retires. On it is just another data point that lets people understand that Anthony Davis is the best player on the Lakers. He is the star of the Lakers. He is the engine that makes it run, and particularly now that he's become so adept. He had nine assists, right, in the All-Star game. Really, he's become so adept. I mean, in a game with 787 baskets, 9, I guess, isn't that?
I respectfully to AD, I'm not impressed. I'm just,
okay, fine. We'll go back to the regular games, but like,
no, AD's passing has gone to another level this year. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, I guess let's not bring in the All-Star game. Let us never speak of it again. So I just thought that data point was interesting, and worth noting that this thing, it wasn't LeBron ISO, it wasn't the pick and roll, whatever. It is Anthony Davis as the focal point of the offense, as the most productive action the Lakers have. So I just wanted to point that out. I thought it was pretty cool. I will make sure to upload that chart so we can give proper credit for tomorrow's show.
Sounds good.
All right. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out. We will really turn the LeBron news was, I think, the most salient stuff to come out of the All-Star break for the Lakers. But it is really officially time to look forward to that brutal schedule, to what the Lakers need to be doing, to what Darvin's rotation looks like as guys start to get healthy. We will begin that in earnest starting tomorrow. Get you ready for Thursday night's game as well. in San Francisco, whether that has LeBron or not. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out, leave us questions, leave us comments, talk to the other 23,000 plus subscribers to that channel. We will see everyone tomorrow.